Am I the asshole for making inappropriate noises when my mother-in-law called my husband's phone at 2 a.m.? My husband and Kevin and I got married months ago. Ever since we moved away, his mom started calling more often. She had a mental breakdown when she heard we were moving. She begged we stay near because she, quote, needs him, even though her 2 older sons are there. Anyhow, she'd call at random times, then start calling in the middle of the night, specifically at 2 a.m. I thought that was so weird, but she said she wanted to hear Kevin's voice, but was too busy to call during the day. Kevin responds to her call every time, saying he's worried there might be an emergency. It's exhausting and completely ruins our alone time. I asked her to call at like 10, but no, she kept calling at 2. Kevin said he can't bring himself to ignore her calls and asked that I be patient. Last night, I decided I wasn't having it. I waited until Kevin was asleep and put his phone on vibrate and waited for her to call. 2 o'clock rolls around and the phone starts vibrating on the nightstand. I stretch my arm to answer, and then I start making sex noises from the bed. I'm talking full-on moaning and then some dirty talk, then more moaning. Few seconds in, she ends the call. Kevin wakes up and asks if I was all right. I tell him it's just the fever, then he goes back to sleep. I woke up to
what do you mean the fever? It's like
maybe she's got a cold during all this as well.
I was like, is that a thing?
I don't know. I heard Devil's Tango for the first time the other day, like talking about like that relating to sex. And I was like,
okay,
that's interesting. I kind of like it, but okay. Fever dream, maybe like a fever dream. I don't know. Okay. I woke up to a complete disaster with Kevin angrily asking what the fuck I did last night when his mom called. Clearly, she was livid and mortified because Kevin said I just traumatized her by having her think we were having sex when she called.
I mean, she fucked up for sure.
I told him what I did and insisted it was just out of frustration, but he shouldn't have done that. But he said I shouldn't have done that, and I embarrassed him and made his mom uncomfortable. I said she was calling at 2 a.m. He said still, I acted childishly and potentially harmed the relationship with her. I told him to just tell her I was behind this, and he said, quote, oh, don't worry about it. I will. Then demanded I apologize to her immediately, but her shaming texts made me refuse. I might have went about this the wrong way, but I was just frustrated. Am I the asshole?
Yeah. But Kevin's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Kevin's a little bit of a mama's boy.
Yeah, in any in-law situation, the thing about parents is it's like they have these weird expectations of their kids. It's like, I made you. And some parents have a hard time letting go.
Yes.
It's Kevin's mom's fault probably for developing this unhealthy connection with Kevin, but she was never going to win with her.
No.
She had to first get Kevin to understand that this was affecting their relationship and it was making her feel uncomfortable. And I think those are great situations because they're fairly common. I think it's a great reason to get couples therapy.
Absolutely.
Always bring a third party into that because I think in those situations you suggest couples therapy and then try to, it's slightly manipulative, but you don't ever want to because couples therapy is just generally positive for, especially you hear people in the first year of marriage. I think a lot of people just do it just because it can be tough and it's just a different year. It's just having someone just help you, learn how to fight and disagree and communicate. Those are all positive things. And when I mean by maybe she should have suggested in general rather than making it about this and then just bring it up in therapy.
Absolutely. I think that's the best plan.
Again, slightly manipulative, but whatever. I'm sure there's plenty of things that they can work through in therapy, but
they clearly need it.
It's definitely a boundary she has the right to set, and it's hard to enforce because I have a lot of friends. I mean, I'm very close with my mom. Thankfully, a combination of having a lot of kids, they have a lot of kids, and so my mom doesn't have the time to be obsessed with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have friends who have a hard time saying no to their parents. And as adults, we have to learn how to say no to our parents sometimes. And parents, as they get older, parents, even though they're older, they they throw temper tantrums too, and they can be manipulative with their kids, and they have a hard time letting go. And I think usually it's up to the kid. If in those situations, parents never really learn. They never really go to get therapy to learn how to be less controlling with their kids, because it's like, this is my kid, it's mine. So if a kid feels like their parents are just like controlling their lives and can't let go, you have to learn the tools to stand up for yourself. And that can be scary and challenging, especially if your whole life you had this relationship with a parent that was very dominant and very manipulative. And you don't ever want to call your parents manipulative. It's hard, but parents can be manipulative. Parents are very manipulative. And sometimes, that's maybe they needed to. That's how but as an adult, we have to push back sometimes, and we have to learn the tools. So Kevin's the problem. And she fucked up because she did this thing, which was ridiculous, funny, but ridiculous. And then but now they can team up against her.
Yeah. There's more ammo to use against her and be like,
she just did herself a disservice.
Yeah. I mean, I would have maybe put it on do not disturb instead, or like a sleep mode, just to like don't like really light the fire, like by making these sex noises. But also let's be mature and have a conversation about this.
But that's the thing. This was like a reaction that you would do after you've tried literally everything you possibly could think of.
Yeah, she's at her wit's end.
She got there. Like, it didn't even sound like she really even went to Kevin and say, hey, I'm as your wife, I'm asking you to set some appropriate boundaries. I want you to be close to your mom, but like, I need you to stand up to your mom because this is ridiculous. And if he disagrees, then she needs to figure out a way to, whether it's therapy or not. But it didn't sound like she had any of those conversations. Like, maybe she just asked him a couple times and he said, be patient with mom. But she went above and beyond.
I know. She said like, she's kind of mentioned it where it's like she's asked him not to respond every time. And then he says he's worried there might be an emergency. It's exhausting and completely ruins our alone time. I asked her to call at like 10, but she refused and kept calling at 2. So it sounds like she even went so far as to like talk to the mom to try to set that boundary herself. But that's not going to work.
Yeah, mom's never going to.
It's not going to work. Like, and this is something like I come across too, like even with my boyfriend and my mom and like his mom and him. It's like we each need to be responsible for setting boundaries with our own parents. Like that's just our responsibility to our parents and each other and our relationship. And so it's not going to work. She's not going to give a fuck what the daughter-in-law wants.
Totally.
That's
especially
her baby.
if you're the type of parent who doesn't know how to respect boundaries.
Which she doesn't. She doesn't.
She sees clearly her as more of an adversary rather than like, oh, thanks for,
taking care of my son.
Yeah, or making my son happy. It was more like, this mom doesn't want another woman in her life. So like, she wasn't. In fact, she probably, she's probably no better.
No.
That's for sure.
Well, just the fact she had a mental breakdown when she heard they were moving. She begged me stay near because she needs him. It's a lot. We're big pluggers of therapy here. Love therapy. And so I think like people need to do therapy sessions before they even get married. Like make sure you're on the same page.
Sure.
And like immediately do not pass go, schedule an appointment ASAP.
Yeah, definitely don't do what she did.
No, but do you know what's interesting? The overall vote on this one was not the asshole. People thought she was totally justified, thought it was A-okay. The top comment, not the asshole. Was it childish? Absolutely, but so is she. However, the biggest problem here isn't your mother-in-law, it's your husband.
Well, that's true. Well, I always say, it's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? She did not choose happiness.
No.
She chose wanting to be right and get back and try to get even. And like, listen, if you want to get even, get even. And you could, people can say like, yeah, tit for tat, but it often doesn't make you happier. And
no.
She doesn't sound any happier. In fact, now she's probably more miserable because now, again, it's 2 against 1.
Yep.
They're like, where did it get her?
Nowhere. Yeah, I would have given this to like an everyone sucks. Like,
yeah.
funny.
Is she an asshole? No. Like, she just fucked up.
Yeah. At her wit's end, maybe a little bit. Like, justified asshole if you want to go that far. But like, everyone sucks in this situation.
I mean, it's kind of funny, though.
I like it.
And I suppose mom deserves it. It just doesn't help her.
No. And like, I think it's funny. I certainly wouldn't have the balls to do it. Like, I think it takes a lot to do that and start like.
Yeah. And we don't really know, like when she said she had a mental breakdown, like, did she really have a mental breakdown?
Or was it a show?
Is she exaggerating when she just kind of saying, oh, she lost her mind? Either way, it sounds like mom's a little,
unhinged.
Yeah. And I don't know if like she knew that was going to get what I want to know is what did you expect to happen?
Yeah. That's a good question because in my head, there's no like no ending that would have been good. Like, oh, the mom just doesn't say anything and plays it off.
Did she really expect to be like, I'll just never call again?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's not how that works.